Hi guys, what's up? Welcome back to the MMA Huddle. It's Will and John here for another week of breaking down some fights coming off UFC Fortaleza. A really action-packed card from Brazil last night. A really kind of short card. It started at 10 o'clock our time, was finished at 3:30 our time. So that's like 5 hours of fight time instead of going on till 6 in the morning. That was awesome. So yeah, not a bad fight card last night. But then we're moving over to, I'm going to say, I don't think many people are going to challenge pay-per-view of 2019 without a shadow of a doubt. This was a horrific card to watch fights on, I'll be honest. And I think, John, you agree with me on that. It hasn't been a good one whatsoever.
Well, Sam Alvey's on there, mate.
Yeah, Montana De La Rosa's on the pay-per-view portion of the card. Yeah, so...
Yeah.
That says it all, really. But, yeah, before we get into all the fights, like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube channel. Just go up in the corner, hit the wee subscribe button up there, hit the bell button. You'll be notified when our show's on, and it'll drop down into your feed, and you can go and watch it through on there. So, yeah, let's get ourselves up to, what was the goal again?
I think by June, I think the goal was 500, wasn't it? And then the end of the year, we said like 6 to 7, something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. We only talked about that a couple of weeks ago. We've already.
I know. I've got a memory like a sieve, haven't I? I know.
So yeah, just help us get up there, and we appreciate all the views, appreciate all the comments. Just keep that going, and let's try and build the channel as well as we can. But we're going to get into UFC 234 here. We're not going to take too much of your time. We're not going to take too much of our time because it's a Sunday night. It's Super Bowl Sunday. We're getting ready for that. So, yeah, we're going to get started off. And I apologise about my fiance in the kitchen banging stuff, if you can maybe hear, but she's pretty much just cleaning everything into oblivion. So that'll be finished in the next couple of minutes, but lapping sounds there. So, yeah. We're going to start off bantamweight division. We've got Wuliji Buren against Jonathan Martinez. I'm going to let you ride off with this one and get started on it.
So, like you said, it was tape study was fun. It was short and brief because there's not much to really get your teeth stuck into and get excited about. This fight itself, I find with Martinez, I think when he's on top, if he gets you down and he's on top control, he's actually not got a bad top game. He's good. He's got a good heavy base. If he could work on his ground and pound, if he could just make that ground and pound a bit more effective, because he uses it in fights, and people are, I want to say, they get hurt, but he's not making them damaged or injured enough to maybe scramble, to maybe open up for a submission. So that's his good points about him. I don't know if maybe Octagon Jitters got him last time or something, but conditioning was one factor I found. I thought maybe in the third round he could have maybe weaned off a little bit. So with that, I think Buren, fair enough, he fought Vera, and Vera's just an awkward fighter to fight. He's kind of that, I don't want to say Vera's the gatekeeper, but he's like a gatekeeper for the bantamweights, it seems, at the moment. And if you can get past him, you'll start to get noticed. And if you fall short, and this is what I found here, I think it's going to be a low-level bantamweight level kind of standard of fight. And I think that if you lose to Rolando Die, I've not got a lot of confidence in you. So it's not. He's got good fundamentals. Okay, he's not got bad fundamentals, but I just think Jonathan Martinez can grapple and scrapple a bit and be scramble a bit to get on top and get a bit of and really get the points. I think you get a decision win for Martinez. I think his top game can win in the fight. I think if he gets on top, he can just win it with effective ground and pound, and that's where the strengths lie. I think on the feet, I don't see much. I don't see either of them standing out greatly. Of course, I'd be going for the body of Buren. Off the back of the Vera fight, that would be something I would have incorporated into my fight if I was Martinez, like left hooks, front kicks, body kicks, all sorts. We'll see if he does. We don't know. We don't know how he'll perform. But yeah, I'm going to decision Martinez, but it's going to be a low-level bantamweight fight.
Yeah, I'm with you on Jonathan Martinez here. I think that I don't think his debut was all that bad. I think Andrew Sukumtath will always, if he fights well, he'll still make the fights close because he does some stupid stuff and his fight IQ is not great. I'm not want to say I was hugely impressed with Martinez, but I thought he did a lot of kind of half decent things right, considering he came in short notice. Kind of awkward southpaw, and nothing really stands out. But he's just a tough fighter. It looks like when I watch Wuliji Buren, it's just like this very low volume, not a hell of a lot going on. Like you say, the Rolando D one, it's a kind of tough fight to go back and watch. Like 1.93 strikes per minute. That's not a lot of strikes that he lands compared to Martinez in his last fight was 4.7. So yeah, I think Wuliji's kind of path to victory here is 100% going to be takedowns. I think he's going to want to try and clinch up. I think Martinez is more kind of wiry than he is. He's going to be able to get underhooks and get himself off the cage. I think that's where Buren's going to push it. I like Martinez, honestly. I think that Buren's... I don't know what... He should be the kind of guys that are keeping around for the South, like the Asian cards and stuff. And I know we're down in Australia, so it's kind of close we're going to get to that with not being in Asia and so on. But I like Martinez in this one. I think he can stop him. I think if he can pile on kind of a high volume fight, being that awkward kind of southpaw, he can maybe get a stoppage, if not a fairly convincing win there. I'm fairly confident he can get it done there. So, yeah, moving on, lightweight division, Jalin Turner against Callan Potter, who the guy that Alex Gorgees before he pulled out. I don't know if many people kind of know about. It's a guy that over the years, I've thought of him, then completely forgot about him for fights, and then for some reason somebody will say something, and he will bounce up into my timeline again, and then I think, oh yeah, Callan Potter, I know who he is, and get an opportunity coming in here short notice against Jalin Turner, who I don't think has any right really being in the UFC at this point in his career, and he's still young. I think I know they did this with kind of Greg Hardy, but send him out onto the regionals. Give him like you're signed to the UFC, but go and put him on some other shows out there and kind of build him a little bit. Don't put him straight into the UFC, and certainly don't put him against Vicente Luque, who is, I think, a top 15 welterweight in waiting if he's not already. Guy's super dangerous on his hands. He's super dangerous with his submissions. And you put this guy with, 10 fights and a lot of low-level fights like that against him? I mean, woof. I don't know what the deal is with that one. I agree, like the type of fight that he had with Alex Gorgees. But Callan Potter's got a lot, and I mean a lot of experience out there. He's a guy that's... I think he's won 17 fights, lost 7 fights. This is going to be fight number 25. He's been fighting around for a long, long time. I want to say a good 10 years, I want to say. 9 years. So he's been fighting a long, long time. Fought UFC vets. Majority of the time kind of lost to those guys. I know some of his opponents, the records aren't really that flattering. But he's a guy that, when he's in there with kind of middling talent, he will win fights. Like I think he had like a 10-fight win streak. A lot of guys in there that you really wouldn't recognise, didn't look that good, were kind of not great on the ground. And then he goes against someone like Marcin Held, who is just a whiz on the ground, and gets caught with a heel hook. It's Marcin Held. He's going to catch anybody low level with techniques like that, and he did, and then he came back with a win last time out, and he's getting his opportunity. I literally, the last, I want to say, hour and a half, watched that fight against BJ Bland. Honestly, it could have went either way. I think he probably actually lost that fight, but I think he's live in this fight by the fact that Jalin Turner, he is there to be hit. Potter's like not a one pop knockout artist, but he's a guy that I think could really, in the later parts of this fight, if he can find it a way to the ground, I think he can find a submission on Jalin Turner. not to say that Jalin Turner couldn't come out here and just absolutely use that wild length that he's got and like really kind of bust him up a little bit. But it's a rough matchup for both guys, I think, because Jalin Turner's got all the kind of different kind of physical attributes to really kind of hurt him a little bit. He's a southpaw as well, which is always something you have to kind of worry about. Big dude. I just think he takes too many shots, and I think that Callan Porter's going to kind of strike his way into the clinch and get a takedown. I think he could find a submission later on, honestly. I don't feel confident picking Jalin Turner. I don't really feel confident in picking Callan Porter either, but I'm going to take the underdog in a kind of upset here. So I'll go Callan Porter via submission early round number 3.
I'm with you on the fact that I'm not confident on either part or on either of them. Like you said, the last fight he had, split decision win, and I thought to myself, you got in I know it's short notice, but you got into the UFC on the back of that. There's no confidence there. The guy was a 500 fighter, the guy he beat as well, a split decision. And it was, for me, I think, when I watch Potter, I think he's been around for like 9 years. I don't think he's grown as a fighter in 9 years to the level that he should have. He's quite calm, patient, just plods forward. He's not quick with his striking. His striking seems quite slow, quite lethargic almost in a way that he's almost pacing it. It's almost like you feel like he's holding it back because he feels like he needs to have 3 rounds in him rather than maybe putting a little bit more in there to maybe go for a finish. So my worry is with Luque, that guy has a great killer instinct. When he knows when you're hurt in a fight. And so he knew when Turner was a little bit hurt, he just put it on, just crank that up. My worries with Potter is he can maybe hurt Turner, but I don't know if he knows I don't know how well he's good at cranking that up. Mm-hmm. Turner's going to have that length, that he's going to be really long, really tall. And I'm just curious to see how Potter deals with that because he's not quick on his feet. This is where my worry is. I think Turner will be super happy just to pick away all day long, just jab, just a couple of kicks, and just keep it at range. It's going to be in the big cage, the bigger octagon as well. So whereas Potter's been fighting regional on a smaller cages, he's not had to move much to kind of close that gap down. Now he's got the issue of bigger cage. Turner can just use that length of that distance moving around. I'm going for an ugly decision for Turner, but I have zero confidence in either guys, and I think both of them, when they get their next fights, they'll probably get absolutely murked again. But I'm going to go with Turner on this one. But I'm going to miss this one. I'm going to pass.
Yeah. So staying in the lightweight division, Lando Vannata against Marcus Rosa here at Mariano. Who you got?
Well, this is Lando's first fight since signing the UFC deal, extension, contract. I was a bit surprised he got an extension, only because he's almost like a poorer man's version of Justin Gaethje, where he gets hit a lot. He gets hit a lot, but he doesn't give enough back to get the wins. And he kind of turns into a punching bag. And it's really weird because he's got a lovely skill set, Lando has. He throws some nice combinations, some nice fluidity, and he mixes up it's so varied. He's not predictable as a striker, so it's good. What he is predictable in is that he will let you punch him in the face. And it's just the recipe for disaster. You can't do that week in, week out. I feel he's been given what should be called a gimme with Marcos. If you go and find some of Marcos's fights, it's not easy to get some of his footage. I won't lie. It was a pain in the hoop because it's not Marcus Rosa, is it? It's Marcus Rosa.
Mariano. Yeah.
Mariano. That's it. Mariano. Yeah. So I was looking at the Marcus bloody Rosa for fecking ages, and I was like, I can't find this guy. And then I bloody realized he just shuts down. But I had a look. He's going to be a big guy for lightweight, but I don't see anything outstanding. He did a bit of boxing, like Shuto boxing. Maybe that was just like to help hone his skills, but I'm a bit perplexed about how he's in or why he's in. He's not fighting good competition. Lando should should win this, and comfortably as well. But Marcos, if he realizes all he has to do is punch forward, and he'll hit Lando every time. Lando has that good first round, and if you're Marcos, you need to just weather the storm for the first round and then start picking at Lando. But I don't have a lot of faith in Marcos. I don't think there's much in there about him that makes me want to. I wouldn't put money on him. I'm going to go with Lando. Decision split. I go split because I think he's going to be split open himself. Lando, I think he's going to get busted up as usual, which I think he might win the rounds, but the getting cut open because we see he's got scar tissue because he gets cut open so often now. I think that the judges might see the damage and think, well, Marcos probably won a round somewhere. So I'm going to go split decision Lando, but I really don't see much in this fight for excitement. I think Lando's technically got a gimme, but Marcos could easily be live and get this win.
Yeah, if I'm a guy that likes to have a bet, I would stay well and truly away from this fight. You cannot trust Lando Vannata in the slightest. He looks like he's doing well, and then he'll find a way to still draw a fight, lose a fight, whatever it may be. I mean, the Bobby Green one, he came out all guns blazing, looked great. Matt Frivola did the same, dropped him, looked like he was going to stop the fight, and he still couldn't win those fights. So he's a guy that I was surprised when I heard he signed a new contract with the UFC. I'm like, ooh, why are they keeping this guy around? But this, to be fair, is a clear step down in any opponent he's ever had. This was the last guy that I watched fights on, was Mariano. And if you're ever looking for tape, people, there's a new thing that a good buddy of mine is doing on Twitter. He's new some MMA. He's got a tape index. If you go onto his website, you will find some fights on there that are really hard to find. Mr. Honky, if you go and ask him on Twitter as well, he can find fights for you. But
yeah, it does. Yeah.
Shout out to Newsome MMA. He's got a tape index. It makes it all clear there. You can find fights on fighters that you want to see. So shout out to Adam for that. It's a good idea. Marcus Rosa, like I say, the last fights I was watching, cannot stop a takedown. Hasn't got the first clue of working off his back, stopping people from getting into mount, side control. Hasn't got a clue, just allows it. And just, he literally hangs on the guy and just, the guy moves around. The guys are struggling to get anything off because he's just tying them up. But fish out of water on the ground, big frame, low volume, nothing impressing with this guy. And like I say, he's getting a big opportunity here coming into the UFC for the fact that I think that someone must have pulled out. Who was he was supposed to fight? I don't even know. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was getting an opportunity here. But yeah, I'm going to pick Lando Vannata. Would it surprise me if this guy comes out here and does something stupid where he gets a draw or he perhaps loses the fight? I don't know. I'm not confident in the slightest in Lando Vannata. But when you look at Marcus Rosa, jeez, he's 6-4 record. He really shouldn't be in the UFC either. Throw him an obscure card down in Australia because they need someone short notice. Like I say, very low interest in that fight. I'm going to pick Lando Vannata, but don't be surprised if he shits the bed. on Bobby Green. Yeah.
Oh no, what was it I heard? Oh, it's gone. Do you know what's going to bug me now? There was something I heard. I heard about a fight. Oh, tits! I've just forgot. I was leaving it for a second and I've gone. Don't worry about it. I'll try and remember. Carry on, mate.
Yeah. Well, while John tries to remember what was said there, we're going to move on to the ESPN portion of the card now. Now, this is the fight I'm actually looking forward to because Teruto Ishihara, I think we've kind of seen his ceiling in the UFC. The guy's always a kind of fun guy to be around. Really nice guy, actually. Even though he barely understands a lick you say, but he's all about those ladies. And Kang is a guy I really, really like. I rate fairly highly. And yeah, for me, I'm picking Kang. I think this is a very, very winnable fight for him. Better grappling. I think he's the better striker as well, even though his striking's coming on. And Teruto is very, very dangerous out the southpaw stance. I just think that Kang has more tools, bigger guy, bigger frame, stronger, more athletic, and it's just a guy. I like I say, this kind of bugs me a little bit because I bet Ricardo Ramos last night, and I've been on the kind of fade train of him. And of course, the one time I go and bet him, he gets starched inside a couple of minutes. And I thought Kang beat him. Kang's another guy that I think he could be one of these people that comes through the division, wins a load of fights. He's only 31. I think he's in his prime now. He can fight more because he's out of his time with the South Korean army, all that jazz. But this is a fight I think he should win. I mean, his wins are Shimizu, Tanaka, Kinete. This guy, Ishihara, is in that kind of region of the kind of level of those guys, if not lower. So I'm going to pick Kyung Kang fairly convincingly here. I think that I think you'll see that the takedown is there, and I think he will find a submission. Strong guy down on the ground. It maneuvers to positions very, very quickly, very easily as well. And it's just a strong fighter. I really like Kyung Kang. I have done for a long time before he went on his military duty. And like I said, I still think he beat Ricardo Ramos. So yeah, but I'm going to pick him here. I'm going to pick him submission over Yashibo.
And he looked good when he came back from his military service, considering you think the time everyone thinks about ring rust. He looked good. He looked like he looked a little bit off at the start in that first minute or so, but you know what I mean? That was what impressed me. I thought he's not skipped a beat. He's not left anything behind. He's just obviously when he was obviously in the military, highly likely he just mostly trained and got ready for coming back here, because that's probably what happened. They treat them like they look after him because he's like a star for the country. But can we just take a minute silence thinking about it, because if we think about previous opponent, Ishihara, is Artem Lobov, has been released by the UFC as per Artem's request. So should we take a minute silent, Will?
Well, we can take a second.
No, but Ishihara, I can't believe he got an extension. Like Lando and Ishii got extensions. I just don't understand it. I just don't know if it's fodder. I don't know if they're fodder for fighters. That's the idea. Maybe they're like, look, we'll bring Kang's going to go through Ishihara. Simple as that. I think he's going to do a smart thing. Ishihara just wants to run on his back, act on his back foot, close him down, get him against the cage, get him down, and that is it. And I think Kang, it's really that simple. Get him down, submit him. And I 100% see Kang absolutely destroying Ishihara. I don't see anything that Ishihara is going to offer to Kang to worry him, because I just don't have much faith in Ishihara these days. I don't know if it's a mental block, a confidence thing, whatever it is, but he ain't the same dude for a long time now. And I think Kang, like you say, is stronger by a mile. I'm going to go crazy first round submission. That's it. Easy.
Nice. I think that's a good one. I just think Ishihara's kind of time's done. I'm surprised you kind of kept him around, honestly. I think that after this one, we maybe won't see him again, and you'll see him out there. And like the thing is with the UFC, there's so many going to Asia, and there's Bellator. Obviously, they're starting to pick up more guys coming out of the UFC, and PFL. I think it's going to be a destination. A lot of fighters when they go to for their new season next year, or this year, I should say. So I'll still be watching Ishihara fights because he's in the right matchups. He's very, very fun to watch. But I think we both like Kang. I think as a consensus, maybe confident pick, I think Kang would be kind of one of them this week. So yeah, moving on, flyweight division. I think it's fairly obvious now that after what I've heard and seen over the weekend, that the flyweight division is done. After Henry Cejudo came out last night, I think he was saying that he's pushing, but it's like nothing's happening. So looks like the flyweight division is going to be dissolved, which was looking that way, which is a shame. But hey, what can you do? Kai Kara France, Raulian Paiva, and yeah, I'll let you go with this.
Look, it's this. Gosh, Raulian, he is 18. Is it 18-1? Off the top of my head, yeah. I thought it was like 17 or 18. So if you think about it, 18-1 is an obscene record to have, and again, not be signed yet. I've seen you think, gosh, loads of people must know who this guy is. Quite unknown. If you look at the record of the guys he's fought, questionable. But we've got to remember, it is the flyweight division. So the flyweight division, it is not a big division even outside of the UFC. So some of the level of guys that he fought were probably pretty poor, to be fair, regional fighters. So it's not his fault. I'm not putting anything against, you can only get what you're given, especially in flyweight, because he's down in South America and Brazil. So he's getting what he can. And but when I watched him in Dana White's show, there was glaring flaws in his game. And one of them was, I think he's quite weak. I don't think he's a strong guy at all. He had problems with the grappling. Anytime it went on the ground, he had problems keeping anyone down. He had problems keeping his opponent down. And he just didn't seem to have pop when he's landing strikes. I didn't feel like there was enough of, even though he was on the front foot, I didn't see there was not much there. And obviously when I watch other fights, I just don't know what it was. I don't know how, well, I do know how he got to that record because he got certain matchups for him, but I'm still trying to find what it is that he's got that's giving him this record, or maybe I don't know. I'm so lost at the moment because his one loss was when he actually fought a guy, fought an opponent of a decent record, of a decent reputation. So, you know, whenever he fought someone outside of the low regionals, he lost to a reputable opponent. But I think it was Matt Schnell off the top of my head, actually. Yeah, I'm sure it was Matt Schnell, wasn't it? He lost to.
Who? Kai Kara France?
No. Raulian, yeah.
Oh, no, he lost to a local guy.
Oh, was it a local guy? Oh, someone lost to Matt Schnell on here. Bloody, I'm forgetting which one it is now. There's that many bloody fight guys on here. But anyway, yeah. So when you look at Kara France, for a flyweight, that dude pops. Like, he hits. He showed it in his debut. I like the fight here. Pure 100%. I've got Kara France. I think he's aggressive. He's forward movement with his striking and his takedown. I don't think Raulian is going to be able to stop what is going to come at him with Kara France. I don't think he's going to have the tools to be able to stop. I think he's going to be too weak to stop the takedowns or too weak to get him off from top. I just don't know what he's going to do. I'm watching the fight, and I think when Kara France cracks Raulian, he's going to think, what the fuck is that? That guy is not 120. He's going to. It's like Kara France is like a lightweight power in a flyweight body. He's got good pop in him. He's got good combinations too. That's what's good about him. I honestly, I think Kara France, I can legit see get a first or second round TKO stoppage on this. Legitimately, I don't care that the kid's 18-1, folks. Look at the footage. Look at the tape study. It's there to be seen. I think I see Kara France getting a stoppage here.
Yeah, this is one of the fights I'm more interested in for the simple reason I bet one guy, have a parlay, actually with Kang as my first leg. I'm going to come out and say that Kai Kara France is the second leg of that parlay. So, and Kang for me was the first name I put down. He kind of rang out to put him up with someone. It's a hard card to put fighters together. And then I saw Kai Kara, and like I said, I think he wins the fight. I'm pretty comfortable that I'm not saying that I'm super confident in Kai Kara France. You have to. The guy gets fights. By the way, if you go back and watch some of his fights, he gets dropped all the time. Back on the regional circuit, he's getting dropped. He got dropped by Elias Garcia last time out. But what I like about him is fights hard, comes through the adversity. What I like about him in this matchup, I think his volume is going to play a big part. I think that Paiva is one of those guys. I think he's got a really beautiful lead left jab, a beautiful lead left hook as well. But there's definitely holes in his grappling game. You saw that in the Dana White Contender Show fight against Nascimento, where he took him down and moved into positions very easily. But in doing so, he scrambled pretty well to get into some advantageous positions himself. If this fight, I think this fight, majority of the fight will stay standing. I think that Kai Kara is definitely the better striker, comes from Tiger Muay Thai, working with killers out there. Like you say, protect your chin, and I think his volume is key in this fight. Just don't get caught with that big shot that's going to hurt you, and I think he will completely out-volume Paiva here and win the fight. It's kind of interesting that it was this 2 fights ago, I think it was, Paiva. I was watching, and for some reason, I just kind of looked to the referee, and I'm like, oh, I recognize who that referee is. And it's like, it's UFC fighter Davison Figueiredo. He's the referee of that fight. And it's just like, it just caught my eye. I was like, oh, really? So that was a really interesting fact that I kind of caught when I was watching some fights back.
He's not earning enough money fighting in the UFC.
Yeah,
he's not. So he has to go referee fights just to make some extra cash.
Yeah,
but he's a flyweight, isn't he? So you got to think he's not getting fights.
Well, who's he fighting? He's fighting soon.
He is.
Formiga.
It's another guy who looks. It's another Brazilian.
It's Formiga.
Formiga, then Formiga, and also Almeida's out of the two of his fight because he had eye surgery.
I saw that sucks.
That's bad. That might be. He might not come back. You look at Bisping. You don't know. We don't know. So for Almeida, that's rough.
Yeah. Hopefully that's not as bad as it is. But I'm picking Kai Kara-France. Does he win via stoppage? I think it's a possibility. Actually, he could win via stoppage. I'll go a second round TKO for Kai Kara-France. Like I say, protect the chin, and I think he should come through this one pretty unscathed. But like I say, he's a little bit worrisome sometimes when I see it. But up next, Shane Young, Austin Arnett. I think this is a lot closer fight than what the kind of odds indicate, in my opinion. Shane Young's coming off a really fine performance last time out. He had a tough UFC debut, obviously, with Alexander Volkanovski, who's put himself probably in a top 5 of that division with his win over Chad Mendes. But then he rebounded against Rolando D, and he absolutely kind of cut through him like a knife through butter. Was never really in any trouble whatsoever. Took the fight wherever he wanted to. Just really beat him up pretty badly, and obviously got the stoppage there. And he's getting Austin Arnett here, who's coming off his first UFC win over Humberto Bandenay. Bandenay, you can tell, is not a mentally strong fighter. Wilts. As soon as the cards are kind of stacked against him, he wilts and he looks for a way out, and he did that in that fight. And Austin Arnett in those type of fights can't do that because he is a tough guy. He's hard to finish. You need to be a really good fighter to finish that guy. And he comes forward and he throws with a lot of volume himself. I'm not as confident in Shane Young as I thought it was going to be. I think Austin Arnett's probably gained a lot of confidence from that win. But I do pick Shane Young to win the fight. I just think I'm trying to figure out the method and the way he's going to do it. Is he going to out volume on the feet? I don't think he is. I think he's going to mix up and when he take it to the ground. Like I say, Austin Arnett is a veteran. He's been around a long time, comes from a good camp as well. He's came up through with decent fighters like Michael Chiesa and so on. I just like Shane Young. I think that he's got a bit more go about him. I think if the fight was close and he realised he had to win a round, I think he would have that extra level to move on to win that fight. I think he's minus 300 though. I think, like I say, I don't make the odds, and people are obviously betting him, so they're seeing they must be fairly confident he's going to get through this guy easily. I'm going to pick Shane Young. I'm going to pick him via decision though.
Yeah, I'm with you on the decision side of things for this bout because I think Austin is just a bit of he's a tough cookie, isn't he? You know, he is a tough guy, and like you say, he's a veteran who's smart enough to be able to avoid quite a lot of damage a lot of the time. Every now and then you get caught. It's the fight game, especially in MMA, smaller gloves and kicks and these and everything. But from what you can take damage wise, he's good. He's just a smart fighter. But I think Shane Young, that Volkanovski fight, I got a lot of positives from that if I'm Shane Young. You know, I legit, honestly, folks, I think if you look back at that fight, tell you what, Shane Young showed he don't quit. Because Volkanovski was all over him like a wet blanket. But Shane Young was still trying to throw punches when he was against the cage, and Volkanovski was closing the distance. He was not scared to engage. He was literally ready to go out of shield. And I think that kind of tenacity and heart and desire will be enough to just come over the kind of experience that Arnett has. I think Shane will get the takedowns in. Grappling aspect, I think, it'll be an underhook over. It's going to be battle. Majority of the battle's going to be on the cage. I think if you kind of walk Austin down with strikes, get him against the cage, get him to the ground if you can, and just use some on-top dominance. Austin's not your guy who's going to be doing what Volkanovski does. So it's Shane Young can afford to relax a bit more with the striking, can afford to throw maybe a 2-3-4 shot combination. So I'm going to Shane Young, confident with the decision win. I think he's just got enough to just get on top, a bit of ground and pound. Referee might stand up after a little bit because he might not change, might not move or better his position. But I've got Shane Young here for the decision win.
Moving on, Devonte Smith against the Maestro, Dong Young Kim, I think it is. This was one that jumped off immediately to me. The betting line also jumped off immediately to me, but then when I watched the fights, I kind of turned around a little bit. But I'll let you go off with it.
Yeah, I think my worry in this fight is Dong Young is quite relaxed when he's striking, and his hands are kind of low for my preference. With a guy like to be fair, he beat Takanori Gomi recently. Well, I say recently, but like in this, I think it's like the two fights ago, second class fight. That is nothing to be over the moon about because Takanori has no chin. But Devonte Smith is quick. That dude is quick. Like he whips out those combos like lightning, and he's so good at getting that distance closed down. Dong Young cannot have his hands the way he does in fights. If you watch his fights, he's not here ready. He's just like kind of just on, I want to say around the nipple area. Just kind of throw. And folks, it doesn't seem like a great distance from here to here. It's a lifetime of away when someone's throwing a punch at you to get your hands up. I'm quite strong on Devonte Smith here. I think that Dong's output is maybe a little factor for me as well. I think it's just a bit too casual, a bit too relaxed in the fights. Like for example, as well, he's open to leg kicks. In fact, I'll rephrase that. He's not open to leg kicks. I need to change that. He doesn't block leg kicks. Like doesn't block. Like it just doesn't. He blocks it with his thigh. That's what he blocks it with. His thigh bone. His thigh. It's all right. And then it bugs it. I tell you what, Damian Brown fight. It just took a toll. Damian Brown. I like Damian Brown. He's a fun guy. He is game to fight. That dude is not hard. Like he's not known for his kicks. If I'm Devonte Smith, I'm going to try and pop those punches and then whip in those leg kicks at the end of those combinations. I think he's going to stop Dong. If I'm honest with you, I think he could do it in the first round. But I'm going to give some respect to Dong and his chin. I'm going to say second round. But I think Devonte Smith, if he wanted to, could light him up with his hands and just rip the leg apart of him. And Dong will just have to switch stance. And then when you see him switch stance, because what happens is, as soon as he switches stance, he's then a bit lost again because his footwork has gone off. He's not that comfortable in the southpaw position. So his footwork and his range has gone because he can't move as comfortable. I'm quite high on Devonte Smith. Yeah, I think he's got a nice, comfortable win if he does the simple things to get this. Speed will just kill Dong here.
Well, when I heard about this fight, I was like, he was supposed to fight Trinaldo, actually, Devonte Smith.
Yeah, that was going to be a loss. That was going to be a loss.
Yeah, I was looking at chops at that one. And then I heard Dong Young Kim, and I was like, oh, that's a tough fight because we know that Dong Young Kim is hard to take out. One of the good things about watching fights for this card is you get to rewatch him against Polo Reyes, and Polo Reyes fights in a couple of weeks' time in Prague. And that was a great fight. That was... I think I was...
Will, 2 seconds. You just froze there, Will. Will, you froze there, bro.
2016 UFC was...
You froze there. You said Reyes fights in a couple of weeks in Prague. And then it just kind of froze. So if you want to go from there, mate.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, like, the good thing about this card was getting to watch Dong Young Kim against Polo Reyes, which was one of the best fights of that entire year. Definitely the best fight in that card that UFC won.
One of the best I've seen. Like, yeah, if I look at over time, it's easily going to probably pop into your top 50. Easy.
And that's what I was thinking. Initially, I was thinking, right, we've seen that he can take a shot. We can see that he can give a shot. And we've seen that Devonte Smith gives a big shot as well. But what's Devonte Smith like when he moves into rounds 2 and 3 and all that big athletic explosive power he maybe exerts in the first round? That's something that does worry me. And that's why I thought I might actually bet Dong Young Kim. And then I started watching some more fights of Devonte Smith, and then you realise he is a big, fast, athletic, powerful dude, and it doesn't take much for him to catch you. And if he catches you, you're in big trouble. Still a part of me that really likes Dong Hyun Kim, but I think that Devonte Smith is in the right place. He's at Factory X. Great camp that's going to be a big camp this year with a lot of good fighters coming out of it. World title fights already booked and fighters already booked for that. I think I've got him via knockout here as well, and I wasn't expecting that beforehand. But I just think that he could light up Dong Hyun Kim, and his speed and power and just raw athletic prowess wins him this fight. And I think he went 2-3, especially late 2-3, because I think someone like Dong Hyun Kim could maybe pose him some problems. But I'm going to pick Devonte Smith to win via knockout at the end of round number 1 in that one there. So, yeah, onto the pay-per-view part of this card, and like...
Sorry, I just laughed when you said pay-per-view and I looked at the card.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Guys, I feel sorry for you if you're paying in America and you have to pay $60, which is criminal for a card like this. To be fair, the top 2 fights are worth it, but then 3 out of 5, not really. Starting off, light heavyweight division, Jimmy Crute, Sam Alvey. I'm going to pick Jimmy Crute in this one, straight off the bat. I think that Sam Alvey is definitely a tough opponent, but he's so low volume. I think his power, I'm not sure his power is as kind of big at 205. I don't know, it's hard to say that really. Bigger dudes at 205, so maybe they take the shot better than they do than the 185ers do. But in all honesty, there wasn't that many guys he was knocking out down at 185. Pratchnell was his only one. Kevin Casey was a couple of years before that. The guy fights that often. He's not this big knockout artist that everybody kind of puts out there that he is. And then he's coming off a loss to Little Nog, I think it was, in Brazil back late last year. So Jimmy Crute's going to bring the fight. 100% going to bring the fight to Sam Alvey here, and he is like a super green fighter, and he got the right kind of matchup with Paul Craig last time out. But there was definitely parts of that fight where you could still tell he was a young green fighter with a lot to learn in the sport, because he gave up positions. He's a good black belt himself. That Kimura that he finished him with, Paul Craig's not a guy that is easy to tap whatsoever. Caught him there. That was all power, all strength. Got that finish there. He's got decent striking. He's fast, and he goes hard for 15 minutes. So he will bring the fight to Sam Alvey, where Sam Alvey is going to be on his back foot, throwing little to no strikes, looking to counter strike and catch Jimmy Crute with a shot. I think Jimmy can take the shot a lot better than what some of his other opponents can, and that just leads me to a Jimmy Crute win. Whether he stops the fight or whether he wins a dominant 15 minutes, I've got Jimmy Crute in this one here.
I think it's going to be a dogged fight. I don't think it's going to be an enjoyable one. Mostly because of Sam Alvey's side of it. Because Sam Alvey's not easy to take down. That's the problem. Like, people, a lot of the fights, that Sam Alvey's not a fun fighter to get against, because he is awkward and hard to take down. He is legitimately good at takedown defense. I think that's one of the things that gets really underrated about him. But then everyone knows he's a counter striker. So people are a bit tentative to strike at him because they're worried about what counter-strike's going to come. So it's the worst combination, because you can't strike to close the gap to get the takedown, because you're probably not going to get a takedown. But as you're closing the gap, you might get a counter shot. That's probably, I think, what cancels a lot of guys out against Sam Alvey. Jimmy Crute, like you said, he's green. He won't have the logical sense to think that. He won't have any of that. He'll just go, he'll do this. Fight his gum shield, put his chin down, and just yes. And that's kind of how he strikes. And it's my only worry about Jimmy is going ahead. His striking needs to rapidly improve. I feel his striking slow, sloppy. Doesn't look like there's a lot of power because he's not really planting his feet. He's punching while he's moving forward. Now, he's got no takedown defense, Jimmy. 0. Like, I don't think he's ever heard of takedown defense, because obviously, I don't know if it's because he's confident of his black belt, or the fact that he just can't be bothered to learn a takedown, or can't bother to defend a takedown. if Sam Alvey could just bother his arse to do takedowns, he could probably win the fight and just get Jimmy Crute down, get on his back, and just hold him down. I don't think Sam Alvey can be bothered. It's really weird. He's just going to go down there, smile for the cameras, put his hands in the air like he doesn't care, and then Jimmy's probably going to win. I think Jimmy might be able to get Sam down, though. I think he might. Or he might. I think. I know Jimmy. I couldn't imagine him pulling him into guard. But I think Jimmy will win. Just volume, mate. I think volume wins it. So I'm going to go Jimmy Crute decision. Because I think he can just volume. He'll have a greater output, and it's as simple as that. I'm not saying he's going to land any clean shots. It's going to worry anyone. I don't think Sam's going to do too much to surprise me. Jimmy Crute's young. He's not had a lot of fights where he's getting a lot of damage, so he's got a fairly decent chin from the fact that he hasn't had a long career, and he can take a hit. So, yeah, decision Jimmy, but can we just forget that fight's happening?
Yeah, and we're going to move on to another fight that we're not going to talk too much about.
What?
Montana De La Rosa against Nadia Kassem.
I can't believe again. Oh, man, I can't believe this is on the main card again. Yeah, I'm going to be short and sweet. I think Nadia's got problems with her conditioning. She needs to really sharpen her condition up. Third round? She's there shaking her arms, getting... You don't do that in the middle of a fight. You don't do that. Because you're telling the other person going, my arms are fucking hanging out. I don't care. Hide it. I don't care how hard it is to keep your arms up. You lie, you grit, you bite your teeth and just say, I'm fine. You, as soon as you drop your hands and go, I'm going, oh, I know what I'm doing. I want to get you against the cage and grapple with you. That's my goal. I'm like, right, we're going to grapple, bitch. Underhook battle. Then I'm going to just grind you down to the ground. Yeah, Nadia's... on the ground, Nadia's not... She's okay. She's got some nice attempts. She's not the cleanest grappler. Montana, I think, is a better grappler. Like if you put... I think Montana's got a better grappling aspect. I'm going to put it in a nutshell. It will go to the ground, and I think Montana can get a submission against Nadia. I think Nadia's quite green. I'm going to go... Yeah, Montana submission... third round, but truly, again, I could miss this fight and not be fussed.
Yeah, I'm Montana De La Rosa. I think she's when you watch that first fight with what's her name, Alex Chambers, Nadia Kassem, she got taken down. It was a horrible fight to watch. It wasn't good. And Montana is a wrestler. That's what she's grew up doing. She's grew up wrestling, so she's going to get takedowns in this fight. I think Nadia's going to throw up submissions to try and fend off and try and get back to her feet. I don't think it's going to happen. And I just think that Montana's going to submit her. She's going to find a submission. She's going to find some way to get her out of there. But the one thing I just didn't like is the fact that she's calling out Page Van Zandt a couple of weeks ago. Keep your mind on the fight you have right now, and then in the future you might get that fight. It might be a fight you get, who knows, because you know what the UFC are like at putting two cuties together, and like this is kind of another thing actually here. They're both pretty good looking girls, and they're putting them together and so on. Yeah, so I'm going to pick Montana De La Rosa. I hope I don't see any striking. I want to see it go to the ground. I want to see Montana get her out there in the first round. So first 2 rounds for Montana via submission, and that's enough about that fight there. To be fair, this fight here I actually think is a good fight. It's just not a pay-per-view fight. It's Rani Yahya against Ricky Simone. And this is one I kind of got my eye kind of on closely, because Ricky is a guy that is super aggressive, but very, very, he's still pretty young in the game. And he's against someone in Rani Yahya who's got umpteen wins in the UFC, and you don't take that kind of lightly in any aspect of the fight game. Ricky's a guy he's beat a couple of really solid prospects. I have to say Montel Jackson, who he's definitely going to be a super prospect, I think, once he puts everything together. And Mirab Divalashvili, who is all fun, but is wide open for a lot of techniques to be kind of used against him, and gasses pretty badly, but is still super fun and super dangerous in that time as well. What Ricky's going to want to do here, and what he does predominantly every fight, is takedowns. That's that's what he wants. He will look to take the fight there. But if you do that with Rani Yahya, you're playing into his wheelhouse because he wants that. He doesn't want to be up there striking with you. He wants to get this fight to the ground where he can use his jiu-jitsu skills. And that is something, like I said, I don't know how many wins he's got in the UFC. I want to say 10, 11 wins in the UFC. That's a lot of wins to be having. I don't care who you are. So this is a clear step up in experience and just a crafty guy. Like Rani Yahya is super, super crafty. Wins over Luke Sanders, Russell Doan, Henry Briones, obvious stoppage in his last 3 fights. Beat Tanaka, who I think we spoke about quite a bit last week, who's a tough guy. Matthew Lopez got him out of there in the 3rd round. And he's been in the UFC for, I want to say, 8-9 years. So you cannot take this guy lightly in the slightest bit whatsoever. This interests me. It really does, because I just think that Ricky's clearly talented. You can see that. But he is going to play into the wheel. He's not going to keep this fight standing. He's just not going to do it because he's never did that before. So he is going to go in for takedowns, which is going to open the jiu-jitsu and positioning game of Rani Yahya. So yeah, I'm struggling with this one. I think on the feet, I think Ricky's a bulldozer. He comes forward, throws a lot of shots, a lot of hooks. Rani's conditioning and cardio does worry me, but if he's going to be on his back, he'll still be comfortable there, even though if he's super gassed, because that's where he wants the fight to be. I'm sure he does majority of his camp actually probably with his jiu-jitsu and being on the ground. So it's whether Ricky's cardio, tenaciousness, aggressiveness wins out over a guy who is super dangerous on the ground, and he's shown that in his last 3 fights. So I've struggled with this one a little bit. I've been swapping back and forward. I think I'm going to go Ricky Simone via decision. But literally yesterday, I was picking Rani Yahya, so I'm flip-flopping in this quite a bit. I'm going to go Ricky via a decision. I think he'll find it hard to get the vet out of there. But honestly, I think it's a tough fight for Ricky against a legit UFC vet who's very, very crafty. I'll go Ricky. I'll go a close decision. So he could either come out here completely kind of run over him and really be dominant, or it could be very close and Rani makes it a scrappy fight and we see what Ricky Simone's made of. But I'll go Ricky in a very close decision.
Yeah, Rani Yahya's had nearly 10 submissions in the UFC and WEC combined. So he's not someone to mess around with. But the problem is, like you say, Rani Yahya kind of ebbs and flows with his runs. Ricky Simone is going to get takedowns. There's no doubt about it, because Rani doesn't even try to really defend takedowns too much. He's not overly fussed about it. I think, though, Ricky is strong. He's a strong dude. And when he gets takedowns, he's not there to play around. He's very good at holding positions, keeping your hips down, keeping your base. Not more a case of just to kind of restrict your movement. If I'm Ricky Simone, or if I'm coaching him, I'm saying to Ricky, look, play it safe with your takedowns. Don't go risky with your takedowns. Keep your head down low. Don't leave it open for guillotines, for example. I'd be saying to him, get him against the cage, single leg. Single leg is your only option. It's the only takedown I'll allow you to get. And then that way you're at least, because if you go for double legs, that's where the opportunity for those guillotines pop along. Because you're having to go bring your head to the side. I think a single leg game here, a high crotch single leg takedown would be ideal. Because with the high crotch single leg, folks, Ricky Simone's head's going to be propped around on the chest area. He's going to have a nice controller get him down. And then that way, he's not going to be leaving himself exposed to a submission there. If he goes for a low single leg, there was an opportunity that Ronnie could get a guillotine in there. So a high single leg would be my goal. Get him against the cage, get the underhook, whip under, high single, down he goes. I think Ricky can do it. If he gets that and applies it, he can really get past the guard options of attack, get to side control with Rani, and then with there, he's a bit safer. But if I'm Ricky, I'm going to put the pressure on. I'm going to keep the pressure high because we know Rani's cardio is a factor. And even if you're on your back, defending, just hit him, just constantly throwing shots. I've heard that Rani's been doing a lot of work on his striking, trying to improve his striking. I'm worried, though, if he tries to use it in the fight. If he tries to use this striking that he thinks he's got now, Ricky hits hard, like you said, Will. He comes in with hooks. And I think might put Rani in a shell if he gets clipped a couple of times when he's trying to do his new stuff. Because Ricky's just a bulldozer. He just comes forward. This isn't the kind of guy you want to test your new skill set with, really. But I'm going with Simone again. I think he's got really good conditioning, solid wrestling base. I tend to always pick a wrestler over a submission artist, over MMA, over jiu-jitsu, because it's the more aggressive. Jiu-jitsu's the beautiful, wrestling's the aggressive, wrestling's the ugly version, and sometimes ugly wins in these kind of fights. So decision win for Simone. I'm surprised Rani wasn't on last week's card in Fortaleza, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm kind of weird. The same with like I said, it's kind of a weird fight because it's an American against a Brazilian where they could have really threw that on there and so on. But yeah, on to the kind of meaningful fights of the card. And they are meaningful as much as they are a one fight I don't think should really be put together. We're in the co-main event here, and the middleweight bout between Israel's last style bender, Adesanya, against Anderson, the GOAT, one of the GOATs, Spider Silva. Takes away.
I like you said, I don't. No, a lot of people still don't understand why this is happening. I get Anderson Silva's name. I understand who he is. I get it. He's 41 now. But Father Time kicks your ass. You can't stop time. You can't stop aging. You can't stop everything. Israel Adesanya is just a younger version. No, he's not even a younger version of it. Anderson Silva. When people say that, it kind of grabs because Anderson Silva's a counter striker, and he's an offensive guy. The dude will come at you. He's not a defensive guy. He doesn't wait for you to come out with counters. He be on the offense. Now, Israel Adesanya has been stopped, folks, outside of like MMA and stuff. So you got to take that in consideration. So he can get hit and he can get dropped. How's Anderson? What's the state of Anderson Silva? What's the mindset of Anderson Silva? He's never getting a title fight. I don't care what anyone says. He's never going to get another title shot. He's too old. He's not going to happen. Obviously, this fight's put together because it's a backup. For example, if Kelvin dropped out, for example, or Robert dropped out, they probably would have put Israel in as a replacement for either party. If one of them don't make weight on Friday, they'll probably put Israel as the main event with one of them two. I don't see how Anderson's going to do anything here to surprise me. He's not going to get takedowns. He's going to stand. He's going to be counter-striking, he's going to be beaten to the punch. He's going to be slower. I think Israel Adesanya will get a win, which 5 years ago, Anderson would be a great win. Now, no one is going to be asked that he's got that win against Anderson Silva. No one in this day and age. If you think that's a great win, you're out your goddamn mind. It's like beating Fedor in this day and age. It ain't a big win. But Ryan Bader beat Fedor. What, an old beaten up man? No, it's not the same. Israel, I think he can stop. I think he could stop Anderson Silva. If I'm honest with you, I don't see much in Anderson Silva these days. It's just it's hitting an age. Everything's a decline. It's just a rapid descent. It's not a slow descent. At that age, it's a rapid descent on everything when it comes to high performance sports. So yeah, Israel Adesanya, second, third round TKO wouldn't be. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah, I'm going to be no different. I'm picking the last style bender via stoppage here. It's a matchup made. He is next in line. He wins this fight. He's fighting Whittaker or Gastelum. And then for a promotion tool, if you've got a win over the greatest middleweight champion of all time, it's going to look better than facing a Luke Rockhold, who was a previous champion, but wasn't the best in the division, the all-time best in the division. Back in the heyday, Anderson Silva never used to get hit with shots. Did not get hit. People were too fearful of his striking and would not engage with him. That's why he took next to little damage now people don't respect his striking whatsoever, and it's there to be got at. Unlike Michael Bisping, completely let him up, showed him no respect, and completely kind of, I don't want to say ran through him, but put a beating on him striking wise. But in that fight, type of guy.
You broke up again.
Right.
You showed in that fight, Anderson Silva showed, and then just went.
Yeah. Well, he showed in that fight with Michael Bisping that when he wants to, he can bring out that striking and land some vicious strikes. I just don't think he's going to do it against Israel. So Israel's, I think, what I like about him, especially in his last fight, is Derek Brunson had the fear of God put into him, because he was just jumping, trying to get a hold of this guy, get him down, because he knew as soon as there was the slightest bit of open space, that guy was going to take a whooping. And the finishing sequence of that fight was beautiful. And it was actually pretty cool to see Adesanya with his takedown defense and showing that he's making improvements. And the guy is dangerous for Robert Whittaker, for Kelvin Gastelum. He's super confident in his skills and his abilities. And he's a danger to a lot of people in that division. And his 5th fight in the UFC? And then he's in the co-main event, and he's going to be, he is 1,000,000% getting a title shot if he wins this fight against the winner of the main event. I just think it's going to be interesting to see this. I think it's going to be a little bit of a feeling out process. There'll be a couple of strikes thrown either way, but I just think that Israel, he's too crisp, he's too fast for Anderson Silva at this point, this day and age. Like, Anderson Silva's coming on 44 years of age, I think he is. So
44? Bloody hell, I thought he was 41. 44?
Yeah. 44, I believe he's 44.
He's could probably beat him these days. Bloody hell.
Yeah, he's 43 years old, 44 coming in April. So he's an old guy now.
Oscar De La Hoya's going to be calling him.
Yeah, he's in a young man's world now with Gastelum, Whittaker, Adesanya. I actually don't think I picked Anderson Silva to beat Derek Brunson. I think Derek Brunson actually won that fight. So that means his last win, if we're looking at it like that, would be a way back 2012 against Stephen Bonner. I mean, Stephen Bonner. So Israel Adesanya, knockout, round
tested
one.
Positive.
Yeah. But he, like in that fight, you've seen like Stephen Bonner didn't know what to do and just backed himself against the cage against Anderson Silva. And Anderson's like, come on then, engage with me. Didn't want to do it. And then got knocked out with a beautiful shot, actually. But yeah, I'm going to pick Adesanya, knockout, round 1, round 2. I think once he figures out that Anderson's really not thrown all that much, he will catch him with a strike and possibly take him out himself and just maybe style on Anderson Silva like he used to do back in the day. But if not, I can see a very, very dominant decision. He might, thing is with this one, that Israel might maybe show too much respect to Anderson Silva. And we've seen that in the past. That like we're speaking about Junior Albini against Arlovsky. He was scared to throw anything. I don't think Adesanya is that type of fighter, in my opinion. But you never know. He might show that there. Knockout or a heavy decision win for Israel Adesanya in that one there. Main event of the night. This is a great fight. Good fight. Kelvin Gastelum travels all the way down to Melbourne to face off against Australia's only UFC champion in Robert the Reaper Whittaker, one of my favourite guys on the entire roster, one of my favourite champions actually, and he showed why last time out against Yoel Romero, even though that fight wasn't for the belt because Yoel had his problems making the weight, but I take so much away from those two fights with Yoel Romero over. I mean, this is the guy that we've watched for a long time. We've seen him in the Smashes show, and he was winning good fights at welterweight ever since he came up to middleweight. The guy, you can just tell straight away that this was a division for him. He was super fast with his striking. His combinations are crisp. I don't think this guy's in his prime yet. 27, 28 years of age, and you look at the list of fighters that he's beat already. And how he's did it and some of the adversity that he's came through. completely destroyed. The Derek Brunson one is such a cringe matchup for me to watch because Derek Brunson is just rushing forward. And to be fair, he catches Whittaker with a couple of good hits, but you can just see how calm, how patient Whittaker was, waiting for the right time to catch him. And when he caught him, he just absolutely took him out. He's got some beautiful, beautiful strikes. I mean, his lead uppercut, I think one of the prettiest strikes in all of MMA right now, and it doesn't get talked about all that much, is his head kick. I think his head kick is devastating. I don't think he has to fully contact with that with you before he's already hurt you with it. And he showed that in the Jacare fight. He hurt Romero, who was a robot in that second fight.
Jacare blocked the whole kick. Like, with nothing connected to the head. It was a legit block. Just like you say, well, look, the power was phenomenal.
Yeah. The breakout performance for me in the whole division was the Ronaldo Souza one, and I could see that coming a mile away. I bet him in that one. He had to survive the early onslaught and break Jacare with not getting taken down, and he showed that. And he went into the second round, and he absolutely wasted Jacare. Then he gets Yoel Romero, and Yoel Romero is one of the most prepare for a fight with that guy because he sits back, he doesn't do much. Before you know it, you're looking at the stars, and he's did something crazy, and he's a machine. He's an athletic freak for his age, and in that first fight, super impressed. Didn't get taken down as much as I thought he did. He stopped a lot of takedowns there. Second fight, you've seen that Yoel come in with a game plan of I'm gonna stand with you. I'm not really gonna take, and he didn't really attempt too many takedowns in that fight. And during a 25-minute fight, you have to come through some big exchanges with Yoel Romero because he's so powerful and quick and dynamic that he's going to catch you with shots. And he caught Whittaker twice. Now, actually, see me sitting here, I think that fight could have been declared a draw. At the time, I had Whittaker winning 3 out of 5, but when I went back and watched it, I actually had it as a draw. So, but that was a tough week for him as well because you will miss weight. Because it was supposed to be a champion. I mean, he faced Yoel Romero again. It's crazy, and like he didn't have to take that fight. He could have just backed out, but he saved the card, won the fight. Kind of defended his title to say the least because Yoel brought everything to him and he's still there. He's still got the W there. And now he moves on to another young guy in Kelvin Gastelum, who's kind of did the same thing, was too big to make 170, so he's moved up to 185 and looked good. Looks fast, looks crisp. But he's fought, I don't want to say different fighters than what Whittaker has. He's faced the best guys that's been over the kind of past few years. But you've got people like Tim Kennedy, Vitor Belfort, lost to Chris Weidman, which I think is a big kind of thing to look at there. Knocked out Michael Bisping, very fast combination striking, absolutely caught him with a beautiful kind of 1-2 Bisping into retirement. And then Jacare Souza won a very close fight, which a lot of people say that Jacare won that fight, and it was close. Honestly, I think it was
horrible. Yeah, imagine it's a horrible one to score. If you're watching that live, like we've had, like you say, we can watch it back.
Yeah,
watch it live.
It's a rough fight to score actually. But when you look at this match here, what I loved with it, the first fight was not the first fight, the second fight with Whittaker. He showed the heart of a champion coming through adversity, and that's huge. And not only did he do it once, he did it twice in the same fight, and he did it, I think, with a broken hand. It looks like he busted his hand again. So the guy is one of the best champions in the UFC, in my opinion. And what I've been thinking all week, watching fights, is where can Kelvin Gastelum win this fight? Because I do think they're both fast, fluid strikers with good combination striking. Is Gastelum going to want to go back to his kind of old wrestling days and wear him against the cage? I don't think he's that type of fighter anymore. I think he's more of a striker by nature. And that's predominantly what I think this fight's going to be. It's going to be a striking exchanges, and I think it's going to be, you're going to have to be on your game to go down to Australia and beat Robert Whittaker down in there. I just don't see it. I'm struggling to see it. I've had some good friends of mine message me saying they've bet Kelvin Gastelum already. That's on you. If you see something between them, something close between them, then you take the shot. I don't mind that whatsoever. But I like Robert Whittaker in this one. I actually think he's going to knock out Kelvin Gastelum. I think he's going to catch him with a big shot. The one bet that I do like for this fight is under 4.5 rounds. It's something I'll look, but I'm a knockout in rounds. The middle part, I think, like I said, I think it's going to take a Terminator to go down there and beat Robert Whittaker in Melbourne to take his belt away from him in Australia. So I'll go Robert Whittaker knockout round number 3.
Nice. Like you say, even if Kelvin wanted to go to his wrestling days, if your Romero was having a night yet, was struggling, what do you think you're going to do?
Yeah.
So I think there's no way his coaches would have even let that happen. I think the coaches went, don't even bother. The only time you should do it is if you're hurt. If you're hurt, obviously shoot to grapple to get the underhooks and, just to bide your time. That's the only time I want you to see you grappling with him. Other than that, try and use your speed. But the problem is that both of them are really fast, so it's more a case of accuracy and speed. The Bisping knockout, I don't take much off that because, as we know, Bisping fought 9 days before or something against GSP in Madison Square Garden. And then so you got to think Bisping flew from New York to home to the other side of America, then over to China in a short space of time, cut weight again, make weight, go back on the scales after getting probably mildly concussed by GSP when he dropped him, and then obviously the choke. So yeah, the Chris Weidman fight was the big ticket there. You think there's a lot to take from that because Chris Weidman's one of them so-so guys at the moment. Don't know what's going on with him in the division, and I thought it's a good opportunity there for Kelvin if you want to make a statement. And there was always Kelvin making that hint at going back to 170 that bugged me. And for me, Rob Whittaker's like 185 is my home now, and he is. When he had those fights against Yoel Romero, who's an absolute monster, ladies and gentlemen, Yoel Romero starched Luke Rockhold and Chris Weidman. Let's just put it out there. Those two guys who, in my opinion, a couple of years back, I thought these two are the future. We're going to have like a Cain Velasquez and Junior Santos trilogy with these three. These two going back and forth with the belt and all sorts. I was so excited. And he just came along and went, I love you, but I kill you. And he just murdered the pair of them. So that was a big thing. Rob Whittaker man, he's so good with his range, so good with his distance. Like you say, the head kick. I think Kelvin can get hit, and I think he can get rocked, and he has been rocked in the past. Again, Kelvin's quick. He's good, especially when he was Rafael Cordero with his combinations and strikes. But I can't go past Rob Whittaker, man. The dude, he's just... And what I like is he's had time to let his body heal. The UFC, he didn't have... He had the hand in the fight, but he also had another injury, which I keep forgetting what it was now. And he had another injury as well, and he's had chance. The UFC have kind of allowed him to have a chance, like rehab to get back to full fitness. So he's coming in 100%, as close as 100% as can. No unforeseen injuries that we know of. I can't look past Whittaker. I just can't. I'd like to see Israel Adesanya against Romero, but I don't know if we'll see that happen. But yeah, Rob Whittaker. I'll go. What did you say? Third round?
Yeah.
I'll give Kelvin the benefit of doubt. I'll go fourth or fifth round knockout for Rob Whittaker, but I think Kelvin ain't going to get the fight to the ground, so it's going to be standing. And Kelvin's not a patient striker. He's not a counter striker. He's going to be aggressive. He's going to be coming forward. He's going to be getting hit. I think just wear and tear, gradual wear and tear, a bit of tiredness kicks in, fourth, fifth round, stoppage, Kelvin.
A fun fight. I'm a fan of Kelvin. I do like him a lot. He's actually a really nice guy. I met him in Vegas when I was over there three years ago, I think it was. And like we stopped, we were at the Invicta fights actually, and he just says like, "Come on, let's just sit down." So we sat down during one of the fights. We were there for 15 minutes and we just talked. One of the nicest guys, like a really nice guy. talking about everything kind of fight-wise, and we're just talking about the fight we're watching. But like I said, I just think it's going to take a man-possessed going down into Australia to take that belt off Robert Whittaker. I mean, he did take a lot of damage in that Yoel Romero fight. I think he's took the right amount of time off, like 8 months, to get ready. But I think it's just like I say, a man-possessed it's going to have to be to go down there and take the belt off him. So that's our picks for UFC 234. Not something we're thoroughly looking forward to, in all honesty. It's not one I'm going to be staying up for sure. I'll say that right now. And then after, we are back next week for, this is a great fight card, the return of Cain Velasquez against Francis
Ngannou.
That's a great fight. And then you've got Vic Felder, Calvillo on there, Kron Gracie making his UFC debut, and he's a whiz on the ground. He's one of the best there is. And then there's great fights scattered all the way throughout.
Rivera and Sterling down at Bantamweight.
Yeah. Benito Lopez, Manny Bermudez. Great fights scattered throughout that card. I'm looking forward to breaking that one down. Until next week, bets.
Yeah.
Oh, bets, yeah. I've only got one bet. This is a card I'm going to go super light on. Kai Kara France, Kyung Ho Kang. I got them for -108. That's why I got the parlay at. The other one that I like, Whittaker, Gastelum under 4.5 rounds. And underdog of the week, probably Keelan Potter. It's a kind of Hail Mary out there. So, but I think I'm going to have 2 bets. I've already got the parlay, and I'm still looking very closely at that under 4.5 in the main event.
Is this more a parlay card rather than a straight bet card?
It's a hard card for betting. I don't like it one bit. I think last week was a good card for betting, even though I completely shot the bed, and it looked like a lot of the guys who are heavy into betting really struggled last night.
I made a profit. Woo!
Yeah, you made a profit. So it was a rough card for betting wise. I got sucked into the Moicano bet. Bad bet in my opinion. What was other bets? Talia Santos didn't start fighting until 3rd round pretty much. And Ricardo Ramos got starched in 2 minutes by Nurmagomedov, who looked like an absolute killer. So I'm going to keep away from this card a little bit more and kind of focus more on the next ones coming up, because I just don't really like the lines too much.
Yeah.
There is a couple of fights in there I want to bet, but I think it's best staying away. And that's kind of what happened with me at Naldo Moicano. I knew I should have stayed away. I still got kind of brought into the betting wheelhouse. I lost money on it, so that's all I'm kind of looking at this week. I don't know if there's anything you like or.
No, I had to look over it, but again, they're fights where they're not. There's no clear golf in some of these guys where they're all kind of mediocre. And the problem with some guys that are kind of mediocre and there's no superstar potential in them, they're just either one could win it, either one could pull it out. So it's not. I see the next card, like you say, far more opportunities for good bets, whether they be prop bets, maybe like double chance bets, with subs and like Cain and Ngannou. Do we see that going 5 rounds? Not a hope in hell.
By the way, that was a missed opportunity last night. Damien Maia via sub. I went 1st round sub. Yeah, you went it, but that was something I looked at and didn't bet, and the guy didn't even. He made it look easy.
I didn't do 1st round, but yeah, I did double chance sub points for Damien Maia, and I tied that in with who was the other one who got the submission? Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira as well was a submission. So, and that was plus.
Yeah, it was. What's
2.38/1? What's that? Would that be?
So it's plus 283. Plus 283.
There you go. That's what it was. Yeah.
So yeah, but like Damien Maia by sub was plus 170.
What?
Yeah, that I looked at that and I still backed away. So that's spots that I need to hit there. So, but yeah, that's where we're at. We're going to focus on next week's card. Great card. Looking forward to it. Until then, hit the subscribe button. Tell us your picks. Tell us your bets, or just ask questions, or whatever. If you want questions answered about next week's card, give us a couple and we can answer next week. Until then, thank you very much for joining us for this one. We'll see you next week for UFC in Phoenix. Until then, all the best. Take care. See you soon.